How's it going, everyone? It is Drago. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, chapter 107, Duel of the Dragons. The cover page for this chapter has Natsu and a mouse on it. I guess he's just following this mouse through like a tunnel system just to get a little bottle of whatever that is. I'm going to say this is a solid meh cover. I don't hate it, don't love it. It's just pretty okay. We pick up this chapter continuing the fight between Ignia and Silene. Then you cut over to Natsu and Suzaku, and they're commenting about this battle. And Suzaku's just like, hey, what do we do against these two? Because these are two dragon gods fighting right now. This is a pretty big deal. I mean, I pretty much knew it was going to happen, but Natsu says he's going to join in, obviously, and that he's fired up. Which, not surprising at all. I kind of figured he was going to join in because, that's his whole personality. And Silene's talking with Ignia, saying, a battle between dragon gods. Like, neither one of us is going to walk away unscathed. Which, Ignia sounds a lot like my grandpa, saying, you want to bet, and then he goes and attacks her, and Silene immediately follows it up with an attack as well. And it just causes a absolutely massive explosion, which I don't entirely know how far away Natsu and Suzaku were, but they get sent flying. And honestly, just to say the absolute power of these attacks, Suzaku comments about his katana, and that wasn't able to even cut these walls or scratch it. And their giant explosion just devastated the whole area. This is going to be quite the interesting fight when it gets animated, because Ignia is summoning all these fireballs and just shooting them at Silene like they're like laser bolts. And I mean, I think she does a pretty good job of dodging, but she does get hit a bit, and then she goes and headbutts him, which real effective. And after that headbutt, honestly, she does look like freaking Kurama or the nine-tailed fox from Naruto, like, because she's running at him with the tails all spread out. That slap that she does against Ignia absolutely sends him crashing into the ground. This next part of this chapter is very interesting because I never thought we would actually really touch on this again, and I'm very interested to see where we take this and if it's actually going to have an impact on Natsu here. So that attack sending him crashing into the ground, Natsu sees that and it starts kind of sparking old memories in his head, and he starts to honestly have PTSD. The battle between Igniel and Acnologia. So that crash in the ground, it shows it mimicked with Igniel and Acnologia. And then, he sees the image in his mind of, Igniel again, like ripped in half practically. And Silene is starting to mock Ignia, making fun of him like, those are the flames of Igniel, the fire dragon king. Like, that's the best you can do. Don't make me laugh. And then she follows up with the attack named Moonlight Palm. You got a little bit of blood out of Ignia, but he seems like it didn't affect him at all because he's laughing it off. Like, don't make me laugh. That's my line. I like how it took this long for Suzaku to finally realize, like, oh, she was holding back against me. Like, this is her fighting at full potential. Like, I would have been dead. Which Silene bringing up Igniel must have really pissed off Ignia, because he's like, don't you dare compare me to his level. And he's just releasing a absolute massive amount of magic power to where it literally starts Silene on fire. And he's just having an absolute blast. She's burning alive and he's just laughing it off, saying that this is the end of the dragon that cozied up with humans. Silene starts to try and teleport away, and he's like, what, you're gonna run away from me? But it turns out she wasn't entirely teleporting away, because she was teleporting like behind him to attack him. And she is using like a water attack against him, and even still he's like, you're gonna use water, I'm just gonna burn it away. And Silene uses an attack named Moonlight Butterflies, and that absolutely is a massive attack. Wow. I'm pretty sure most people would probably be dead if they got hit with that, which it honestly must have just knocked the wind out of him. And then she goes on to say, your greatest weakness is your arrogance. You believe that no one can defeat you. It'd still look like he's passed out, but then he's immediately back up and he's like, because I believe it's true and now it's my turn. So that absolutely massive attack literally practically did nothing to him. And just as they're about to clash yet again, Natsu interrupts this fight. I don't know if you saw Natsu, those were some massive attacks. I don't know how you can stop this. Before he even gets out another word, he's still in his mind reliving the moment like when Igniel died. And Silene pretty good point. Why stop us? You know, like regardless of which one of us wins, you know, it's a dragon god down, one less enemy for you to worry about. And Ignia immediately knows why he stopped it, because he starts making fun of Natsu like, oh, does this remind you when your dad died? I know all about how Acnologia killed him. Ignia actually finally gives a little bit of praise to Ignil, saying that he was the strongest dragon, but Acnologia killed him. But he's different, and if he would have gone against Acnologia, he would have killed him. Which I'm sorry, sir, but you're still probably only using magic, and Acnologia was literally immune to that, so I'm not too sure about that. And just when you think, okay, cool, they're having this nice somber moment, like reliving, you know, Ignil's death and, you know, it's all over, Ignia decides to take it to the next level and be like, okay, yeah, you know, I would have killed Acnologia, and this is how I would have done it. And he immediately shoots a beam at Silene, and it honestly kills her in, I'm assuming she's dead, maybe, she's probably not, but it hits her almost in the exact same spot that Ignil got killed in, and I'm sure this isn't very helpful for Natsu, seeing another dragon die in pretty much almost the same spot and manner that Ignil did. And he is just having an absolute blast, and Natsu is royally pissed off. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. Hopefully this is actually animated well, because I know some of the dragon battles in Fairy Tail, mainly the ones in Tartaros, were not that great. But we're going to be having some insane battles once this gets animated. The main question is Silene actually dead? I mean, that shot looked like it took out like half of her body, so I'm going to say yes. I think the battle between Silene and Ignia was lesser of importance in this chapter. I think the actual most important part was Natsu actually having some form of like PTSD, to where just seeing that battle brought out the death of Ignil in his mind. I know he never really fully kind of came to terms with his death. Like, you know, he died and then he immediately left Fairy Tail for 1 year. I know when Ignil died, he's like, you know, you gotta like live with happiness and all that. But I don't think he ever truly probably came to terms with it, and he kind of just suppressed it, to where seeing a battle very similar to Ignil versus Acnologia kind of brought out those thoughts again. Now, I imagine he's going to be royally pissed off. Not even maybe so much that he even cares for Silene or whatever. It was his job to kill her anyway. It was just the fact of probably, you know, trashing Ignil and honestly killing Silene in the same manner that Ignil did, and being very disrespectful about it. I would honestly love to get some more character growth for Natsu, because he hasn't really had too crazy amount of depth or learning experiences, I should say. And you kind of introducing this element of he's still bothered by the death of Ignil, and like him getting over that. That could be a very interesting plot point to have, at least in this fight. But it really depends on how much they carry it forward, which it might not. It might just be never freaking brought up ever again. Not really sure how Natsu would even plan to try and defeat Ignia right now, as, I mean, they couldn't really beat Silene, and he just like one-shotted her. So not entirely sure where we're going from here. Otherwise, what do you guys think of this chapter? Leave it in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and this is Drago, signing out.